The Waterfalls of Isiori is a healing falls that has been in the kingdom of Isotoma since the time of their forefathers. It had been the reason their ancestors settled in this land in the first place. Its healing virtues have persisted over time, and over time the elders have called it holy waters, and have put rules to guide its usage. To stop any abuse of their precious waterfalls, no one was allowed to go under the falls, and/or bath in its waters. Residents are only allowed to take portions of its water as required for their healing for ailment, diseases or sickness. The Waterfalls of Isiori only flows for 1 month every year, and all through the period of its falls, the kingdom witnessed the festival of healing, as Isiori the waterfalls of health answer to its name in the life of the people. Before the present, the kingdom of Isotoma had made its riches from mining, but as time went on mining wasn't profitable anymore. The mines were dried up, and they were no more precious stones to be found. Therefore most of the miners were forced to settle for other profession to feed their families. Jotum, a young miner, was distressed and broken. All he had ever known was mining, which was passed down from his great-grandfather, to his grandfather, then to his father and to him. He couldn't see himself doing anything else. His depression led to ill health, and for 3 months, before the festival of healing, Jotum was bedridden. So as soon as day broke, on the morning of the month of the festival of healing, his wife took him to the falls and he was healed. He was himself again and he celebrated his healing, but as he and his wife joyfully walked away from the falls he noticed that there was something sparkling, just close to the falls, but he could not tell exactly what it was. In his heart he was still a miner and somehow he was attracted to that object, whatever it was. All night he couldn't sleep, so very early the next morning he took a digger and his mining tools and he went to investigate. Luckily by the time he got to the falls it was still dark and there was no one else around. He walked quietly but for the noise of splashes of water as he stepped into the water, until he got to the rocks, at the exact position he has seen the sparkling object. By this time the water from the falls was already pouring on him and he knew he had broken the first rule, but his curiosity led him on. He quickly turned on his lamp to find the object, and as soon as he saw it he quickly turned the light back off, before someone could notice from a distance. He placed his hand on the object and to his surprise it was as hard as a rock. Could he be right? He took his digger and started digging, and before long he had the stone in his hand. He gathered his tools and walked as far away from the falls as he could to make sure he was alone. Then he turned on his lamp to inspect. He was right. He jumped up with joy, but he quickly controlled himself not to attract any attention. He had found a rare stone, which he knew would fetch him a lot of money. He was rich. He rushed home to tell his wife part of the good news. Jotum couldn't contain his excitement as he hurried home, clutching the rare stone tightly in his hand. The weight of it reassured him of his newfound fortune, but a sense of unease lingered. He knew he had broken the sacred rule of Isiori by venturing beneath the falls, and the repercussions could be severe if discovered. Upon reaching their modest home, Jotum found his wife anxiously awaiting his return. Her eyes widened with concern and relief as she saw him, no longer bedridden but radiant with vitality.
Jotum, you look better every day,
she exclaimed, embracing him. Yes, my love. Isiori has worked its miracle, he replied, his voice tinged with guilt over his secret.
I'm so happy for you,
she said, touching his cheek tenderly.
But what's troubling you?
Jotum hesitated, then carefully placed the stone on the table between them. I have something to share with you, but you must promise me not to speak a word of where it came from. His wife nodded solemnly, her curiosity piqued. Jotum recounted the events of that morning, leaving out the forbidden details of his venture beneath the falls. When he revealed the rare stone, she gasped in awe.
It's beautiful.
She breathed, running her fingers over its smooth surface. "I know it's worth a fortune," Jotum said with a mixture of pride and apprehension. "But we must be cautious. The kingdom's laws are strict, and if they find out..."
"We'll be careful,"
his wife assured him, her eyes filled with determination.
"We'll find a way to sell it discreetly."
Over the following days, Jotum and his wife lived in a cautious euphoria. They researched the stone, discovering it was not just rare but believed to possess mystical properties that could attract the attention of collectors far and wide. Each night, they hid the stone in a secret compartment beneath the floorboards, careful to keep their newfound wealth hidden from prying eyes. But as whispers of Jotum's miraculous recovery spread through the kingdom, so did rumors of a valuable discovery at Isiori. Suspicion grew among the elders, who guarded the sanctity of the healing spring zealously. Jotum noticed strangers lurking near their home, and unfamiliar faces began appearing at the market, asking subtle questions about any unusual finds. One evening, as Jotum and his wife returned home from a discreet meeting with a potential buyer, they found their door ajar. Panic seized Jotum's heart as he rushed inside, only to find their home ransacked and the hidden compartment exposed. The rare stone was gone.
"They found it,"
his wife whispered, tears welling in her eyes. Jotum clenched his fists, torn between anger and despair.
"We were so close. We should leave,"
his wife urged, her voice trembling.
"Before they come back."
With heavy hearts, they gathered what little they could carry and fled under the cover of darkness. They traveled for days, putting as much distance between themselves and Isotoma as possible, haunted by the loss of their fortune and the betrayal of their trust. Years passed, and Jotum and his wife settled in a distant land where no one knew their names or their past. They rebuilt their lives with humility, grateful for each day together but forever marked by the memory of Isiori and the forbidden stone that had briefly promised them a future of wealth and uncertainty. The next day Jotum sat outside his home with a high spirit, once again filled with curiosity and vigor as he thought of taking a journey to Isotoma and to once more investigate the mysterious riches behind Isiori, the Falls of Health. And deep in the kingdom of Isotoma, the elders kept watch over the healing springs, their vigilance strengthened by the tale of Jotum and the stone that had sparked both hope and havoc in their once tranquil land.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please encourage me by hitting the like and subscribe button, so that you'll be the first to know when I drop something new. It will also be nice to hear from you on the comments section of this channel.